Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Expert Division with the tournament win for the Christmas Park tournament here in Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. And before we start, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Also visit golfclashtommy.com for more Golf Clash related content for free. Get the ultimate tournaments guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link directly in the description down below. Don't forget that we do have a massive Christmas giveaway where we will raffle away at least one iPad Mini 5, but also some other fun stuff. We're gonna have a Christmas quiz, that you can win some stuff as well. That's gonna be super hilarious. 22nd of December here on the YouTube channel. You need to become a subscriber, otherwise you cannot win. And then we're gonna have it at 9 p.m. Central European time, which is the same as 8 p.m. UK time, or 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is New York time. Make sure you're gonna attend. I hope I will see you there. Make sure to follow the info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, what ball and club type I do suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are just suggestions. You don't have to follow what I do suggest, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, we will play just conservative here and very safe. And the reason I want to do that is because it's a qualifying round. I'm not really looking to see this one as a drop that is needed in the qualifying round. I may be changing my mind to the opening and to the weekend round, especially on the back 9, where we do have attempts to dial it in based on the same wind. Other than that, it's really risky with all the glitches with that rough bump to make that one in a solid way. So I start with blue ring by the rough line in max position, 6 bars of top spin, 3 bars of left spin, 1 ball of curl to the left. I'm also adding 2 rings of overpower. In the end though, we could have been okay with going with 1 instead. You can see here that we are somewhat close to the rough, but that is obviously because we get that little glitch roll, but 2 rings of overpower, maybe a little bit too much. Max plus 10 is the adjustment, and it could be also, if you have a tendency to hit great right, maybe a smidge more curl to the left would be beneficial. Second shot, we use no elevation here, and here I'm going to check the club distance first and foremost. Then I'm obviously looking to find a spot where the ball is going to bounce as I want to. When having tailwind, it is important that we leave the ball guideline short of pin, and also preferably to leave it a little bit to the right of pin as well to compensate for the push here. And we need to have in mind that this shot is very difficult because there is a lot of things that could happen when we do make this shot. Like we have a first bounce on fairway, second bounce on a very steep uphill plateau, and then the third is that we do need to have the roll towards the pin. And obviously the rough bump is superior, and it could maybe be in somewhat worth looking into using a wind 3 power 5 ball, and also have then the distance with the sniper based on the drive that I'm doing there. But again, you have to decide that yourself. I wanted to present to you a solid adjustment that gets you the birdie, and then we can work from there. It's, as I've said, it's the qualifying round, and a birdie is a must. We cannot danger in getting a par. Wow, they did give us Send It Wind here on hole number 2, and here I'm playing with Thor's Hammer level 7 with a 9.4 Berserker ball win. And that is one of the lower type of wins we can have, and that's why this is going to be a very nice test to see if we can reach over without any problems. I do stretch out to see the ball guideline to be straight down the fairway / rough, etc. A maximum distance plus 10, and we will in that case then push up to max. We go, and then it's time to go max overpower. And now I do hit a pretty bad great left here, and with not a super duper good accuracy on Thor's Hammer level 7, we will come up on the left side. But look at the second bounce. It somewhat should be no problem to reach over regardless with Thor's Hammer 7 or Thor's Hammer level 6 in my opinion. I do think though that if you do have an Apocalypse level 6, then you rather go with Apocalypse level 6 than Thor's Hammer 6. But if you do have a Thor's Hammer 7, you go with Thor's Hammer 7 before Apocalypse level 6. if you have an Apocalypse level 7 or 8, you go with that before the Thor's Hammer level 7. And if you have a Thor's Hammer level 8, then you go with Thor's Hammer level 8 regardless. We do want to have, if we can choose, 11 miles per hour wind. That would be the perfect type of wind that gives us the distance, makes it easier, because there is going to always be a risk on this drive that you get a double, like a dead bounce into the rough, and then you won't roll out. If you do possess a driver that is Apocalypse level 5, extra mile 8, or something like that, then I would recommend you to try to use a ball that has wind 0, trying to jack up the wind as much as possible, because you need to reach as far down as possible to then bounce over, and then you will have to be lucky. Do I think that's gonna be the best way to do regardless, like, or shouldn't you maybe lay up? No, I think you should go for it, because if you reach over, if it's just barely reaching over, you will be having an easier time on that hole than otherwise. If you do get stuck into the rough, you're gonna have to just lay up as far as possible, and you're still gonna have somewhat a straight wind, and you're gonna have to deal with whatever situation you have there. Now, second shot, we play max minus 10% here, and I don't know if there is an opportunity here, to be completely honest. We're looking for it though, but I do think that this would be better off playing with Cataclysm level 7 or better, or maybe even the Horizon level 5 plus. So to have a little bit better ball guideline when bouncing up there towards the pin. I'm not really interested in pushing this one too hard, because if we mess up, we're gonna have a tough time even securing the eagle. And an eagle here, even though we do have ascended wind, it's definitely going to be something that not everyone's going to get, because it's still gonna be tough, even though it's possible. So I don't know, it's up to really you to how much you want to push this one. I'm shaking out a little bit here, and I'm taking my eagle and to be done with it. But with that being said, this is the qualifying round. If I would be having this win in the weekend round, I would be pushing really hard for an albatross, because I do believe that with the wind changes and the way the structure is in tournaments in Golf Clash nowadays, I do definitely think you need to weigh that into the equation. Oh well, hole number 3, I'm using max backspin and half a bar of side spin to the right with my season 11 ball, which is a power 0 win 5. I'm looking for the second bounce to be in the top right corner in complete minimum distance. Pack the Grizzly or the Saturn and use that club to easier find minimum distance. Max plus 10 power 0 ball numbers. And then in the end, I actually are using, as you can see here, I'm actually using underpower on this shot. And that was actually deliberately done. But I would recommend you to go with the absolute tiniest smidge of underpower, because I do like how this ball comes in. But obviously, because we do have an underpower here, we will be dropping short of pins, so we really need to have that in mind when playing this shot. But I do believe this is the play that we should be doing here on hole number 3. For hole number 4, we come to a hole which is going to be super important to get a drop on, because it is a very simple hole where we're gonna have not maybe a direct tailwind for the pin, but close to it. 3.5 bar topspin, 1.5 bar side spin to the right. I could see there that I did get a smidge too much topspin to what I wanted to have, so 3.5 bar topspin and a 1.5 bar side spin to the right. Maximum distance plus 10 is the adjustment. And then we are going to do our very best to hit perfect. Perfect ball, and we will see the ball traveling away, bouncing nicely on the fairway, and getting a very high bounce, but that is all calculated for. And then we get that ball to stay and be very nice. Again though, it could be good to lessen up with the top spin to 3.5, maybe even to 2.5 or 3, because the shorter we are getting on that fairway, the better wind angle we're gonna have towards the pin. So it's somewhat up to you what you want. I, however, though, like the spot I'm in here, because now I know I will be playing this one somewhat close to medium distance here with a 10% over adjustment. So I do decide based on that club distance that I played 45% slider, and I do with 10% elevation. First, I'm mixing around a little bit, trying to see if we cannot maybe use the ball guideline with spin to get it in a correct way. But I eventually then decide to try to straighten the ball guideline out a little bit, but going into the funnel area, leaving the ball guideline a little bit short of pin due to the fact that we have tailwind and it will push the ball further up, so we will be coming towards the pin there. Adjustment 4 rings in total. Perfect ball, and we see the ball bounces very nicely there coming up, and sure, we fall left side cup, but it's totally fine because it is a drop. So in the end though, use the short iron that you do feel the most comfortable with that can get you the drop. Make sure to measure the club distance, but making this drive perfect is going to be a 45% to 50% slider that I'm very comfortable with. And this one needs to be a drop if you're gonna fight in the top in expert. For hole number 5, we will do a ball swap. First, we start with whatever power 5 ball you may have. Yellow ring by the rough line to the left, 2 bars of side spin to the left, and then I want you to play with 0.8 bars of backspin. Here I play with like 0.6, but you will notice why we do want 0.8 in the end. Once that is done, you do change to a Wind 5 power whatever ball. So you can use whatever power ball here, to just that it is a Wind 5. Adjustment is going to be maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, power 0 ball numbers, also known as 1-to-1 plus 0.3, so 5.7 rings for 5.4 miles per hour. Bounce very nicely into the rough, and then you can see that the ball comes in here, but there you notice why we do not need that a little bit extra backspin. But this is a really interesting shot, but unfortunately, it does require a Wind 5 ball to make this one in a perfect way, because higher wind, the harder it's going to be to compensate for the compressed ball guideline, and that is something we do need to think about. And just the ball swap version of it to find the minimum distance makes everything super duper simple. So let's go and make some drops on hole 5. For hole number 6, the only thing we're looking for here is an eagle in the simplest way possible. I'm using a berserker ball to try to keep it free to play, but those of you having the possibility to play with a power 5, Wind 2 or Wind 3 ball, do that, because it's gonna help you immensely for the second shot. Not for the drive is gonna be fine regardless, but for the second shot it's most definitely gonna help you a lot. Maximum distance plus 10 for the drive. I usually play this 120, as you probably remember, but as we're not in entirely max distance, we are gonna use max plus 10 instead. Push up 2 rings after you are done, because we do want to compensate for the lesser ball flight we're gonna have when falling down to the lower area. Slight curl to the right as well, and here you can see we're coming in a decent way. It could be good to have an extra topspin bar, maybe 2. So those of you playing with a POC 7 or 8s and also 6s can use as much topspin possible, in my opinion. The further down we are, the better it's going to be towards the pin. And here I'm gonna use a little left spin, a little back spin, trying to give it an attempt at least, but at the same time, with a strong headwind slash crosswind on this shot here, sure, it is an opportunity, but we need to be honest with ourselves to see this one as, if you feel even the slightest uncomfortable with this approach, just play it super duper simple. Add more backspin, use a little bit more overpower, and just get that ball to stop on the green. I do not believe that this wind will allow us to push that hard for the Albatross, as we're going to have to use overpower in many of the cases, and then we need to hit perfect and also have a splendid adjustment. But if I can get myself to green in a safe way like this, well done. And that is what we're going to focus on hole number 6, and hope that we further down in the tournament maybe get a little bit more funnier wind. Oh, I really do like this adjustment here. I will be playing with the ball that gives me wind between 7 and 8 miles per hour, and that's going to either be a Kingmaker with low wind or it's going to, in that case, be as like a superstar ball or any other type of wind that you have wind 4, power 3, side spin 1 plus. I'm using, in that case, as you will see, max backspin and 0.8 bars of side spin to the left. And now I'm looking for the green squares here. I'm looking for the 7th green square to the the 7th green square to be in the top right corner of that green square. And that is going to be a little bit difficult to find, but it's definitely gonna be something you're gonna have to, you know, look at your device closely and focus. And adjustment, minimum distance, +10, power 3 ball settings, and then you will see this one coming in lovely towards the pin. And I can almost promise that if you do this one correct, you will be either just around the cup or it's gonna be in the hole. This is a beautiful one, but the key here is to try to get a wind between 7 and 8 miles per hour. For hole number 8, we do get almost a dead-on straight headwind. This is gonna be difficult, and I'm going to choose the Thor's Hammer and the Guardian bag. I'm looking to use 7 bars of topspin if possible. If having only 6 bars of topspin, that's gonna be totally fine. And I'm gonna explain what you're gonna do if you do have that. +7 with the Thor's Hammer, level 7, and that will be the same as for level 6, blue ring by the rough line to the left. And we're gonna take a close little look here. We do have 232, so if you do play with Apocalypse level 5 plus, you go and start just before it turns +1. So it would be way better for you to play with an Apocalypse level 6 than it is with a Thor's Hammer level 6 or 7 because of the extra yardage. Then you don't have to use as much overpower. If using the Thor's Hammer, you will be, in that case, use 3 rings of overpower. Now I'm using 5, and I'm honestly lucky that I'm not getting that glitch roll, because that would otherwise be 100% into the rough. So how can you transform your adjustment into overpower in the easiest way possible? Let's say like this: if you adjust 2 rings into overpower, you use 3. So, for an example, if you use Apocalypse, you adjust 1 ring into overpower, you use 2. So, you can use that method, and that's gonna be totally fine for you. Half a ball of curl to the left is what we're using as well, regardless what club we're using. Second shot, you may be wondering, why do I play with a freaking Guardian here? Is because I'm somewhat done with trying to find a way with the glitchy ball guideline. So I'm using max backspin, half a bar of side spin to the right. Look at my second bounce position here now. Okay, so I'm having the second bounce position into the center of the bright green square, 3 green squares above the pin, right? And from here, I'm going to adjust 96% slider, no elevation. And how can I know this is going to be 96% slider? It's because I made a pin shake. A pin shake is going to be super valuable for you to trying to determine the adjustment to the closest margin possible. So the thing that I would like you to do is that you go, the first thing you do before you're setting up your target, you go with your bullseye to the pin, and then you look, what plus yardage am I in? Okay, so I was in +1 with bullseye at the pin, and that equals 96% slider with the setup there. And if you follow that, I can promise you that you're gonna be either very, very close, or you're gonna get it to drop. For hole number 9, we will have somewhat of a tough wind in my opinion, and I will do like this, that I will be using max side spin to the right, and we will tweak the top spin a little bit. We're just gonna try to find the spot that I really do want to play in. So Apocalypse level 5 plus, we start at +11, half of the blue ring into the rough with Apoc 5 and 6. If you do play with Apoc 7 and 8, blue ring by the rough to the right instead. If Apocalypse level 4, you start at max. Adjustment maximum distance +5, and once we are done, we will go with half a ball of curl, and you can see that I'm adding a little bit more, so it should be on the heavy side of half a ball outside the adjustment ring to the right, bouncing nicely on the fairway, and we are nowhere near the rough either on the left side or the right side. So perfect drive, that's exactly what we're looking for. 344 yards, that's gonna leave us with a lovely sniper. And here I'm going to use a reference, that is, I'm gonna put myself up with the bullseye just where it gets clipped away from the rough. and that is +9. So the +9 is what I'm gonna note down. So as a test, I went +9 with, in that case, 2 bars of side spin to the, 2 bars of side spin to the right, and I'm also using 3 bars of backspin. I would, however, want to go with a little bit more backspin. It's not necessary with that much through the hole there, as you will notice. Adjustment is maximum distance, no elevation, is what I'm going for here, but you will notice that that is a little bit too much. So I will give you the full reference detail adjustment that I do believe is going to be the one that we should be following once we have seen the result here on this shot. Bouncing on the fairway, getting over the rough, and there you can see we come in a bit too hot. I do believe that even if we would be hitting a pin, we would in that case be a bit lucky. So like 3.2 backspin and 2 bar side spin to the right is what I would be looking for. So when you go stretch out, so you do see the bullseye just into the rough, that is +9, okay? So from +9 reference, then you should be using, in that case, a 94% slider is what I would go with next, no elevation. Let's say that it would be +8 or +7 or +6, so like a lesser plus yardage. Then you mean that you are having a longer drive than what I have. That means that you're gonna have to deduct 2% for every yard. That is what I would go to. And that's the same if you are above. Let's say you are at +11. Then you should add 2% for every yard, so add 4% on your slider, for an example. And you know, that is the closest we can get on this one, at least here as a start for hole number 9. Thank you so much for watching this playthrough with the tournament win here for the Christmas Park tournament in Golf Clash. The game video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Make sure you get the ultimate tournament guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You can also get more information about Golf Clash and content for free on golfclashtommy.com. Once again, thank you so much for watching and good luck in the Christmas Park tournament.